very evenly matched indeed. The leading 10 all covered by a second, and a reminder of how they line up with Caio Collet and Victor Martins at the very front, ahead of David Vidales and Lorenzo Colombo. The third row of the grid is going to be where you find Gregoire Saucy to start 5th, Alex Quinn, the British driver, 6th on the grid, ahead of Hugo de Wilde, and then Franco Colapinto lining up 7th and 8th. You see the spread of the teams as well. R-Ace ahead of ART, JD ahead of Vitec, ART from Arden from MP Motorsport. 9th, another of the MP Motorsport drivers, Adrien David, ahead of ART Grand Prix, Paul Aron. 11th on the grid for R-Ace GP is Petr Potacek, and for JD Motorsport, the Finn, William Alatallo. Next up comes Magny Cours for the FA Racing squad, Fernando Alonso's team, and for Arden, Rached de Geras. At the back of the grid, the 2 Vitec cars of Laszlo Toth and Vicky Piria, ex-F3 and W Series racer. So the grid then is starting to take shape at the end of the installation lap, the formation lap round to the grid. Then the drivers fan out to the 1x1 staggered formation. Pole position on the racing line on the outside then, as they head down towards that first corner, the Grand Cours, as it's known, into Estoril, turn 3. The Grand Cours itself is a kind of double apex left. The last car into place is Vicky Piria. The yellow flags will be withdrawn. Green flag will be shown at the back. Then the drivers will look towards the lighting gantry to get the 7th race of Formula Renault Eurocup 2020 underway then. And as the flag is shown, the drivers look to the lights. 5 sets will go on when the lights go out any second. Now we will be in business. Who makes the best start? Collet gets away nicely, better than Martins. Yes, only just then as the cars accelerate down towards turn 1. And Caio Collet crucially makes the best start, having had 2 bad starts at Nürburgring a week ago. David Vidales is on the inside line there to try to get the inside of Martins. They're absolutely wheel to wheel going through Estoril. And that forces Victor Martins out wide on the long run now, up towards the Adelaide hairpin. The Spanish driver, David Vidales, goes second then. Victor Martins down to 3rd. He's about to go down to 4th if he's not careful. No, he fights back to the inside line. Vidales blocks him. Right there behind them is Lorenzo Colombo on the outside line. Collet leads to the Adelaide hairpin. First pinch point of the race, really, this. So far, so good. They've all got through, 1 or 2 delayed, including Adrien David in the yellow and black car, the second of those in that colour scheme. Forced wide, losing momentum, dropping back in the pack. So there will have been a shuffle at the end of this lap as they flick through Nürburgring and then to the 180-degree so-called corner. You can see why. It's effectively a long hairpin that loops them back. This paperclip style infield. Speed building once more. There's another chicane to come up at Imola. 52 at the rear of the field. Vicky Piria goes through and then heading up towards Chateau d'Eau. Through the chicane then at Imola, straight in the car, and then it's heavy braking as there on the inside. William Alatallo goes through. Petr Potacek goes off and back on again. They are still wheel to wheel. And Alatallo in all of that, he's about to get mugged if he's not careful by Magny Cours. That opens up the door. And Potacek fights back on the inside line. So 1 up and 2 down for Alatallo. Having to fight left and right and centre here. Potacek there benefits. He's alongside 71 then. That is Magny Cours, and he goes through. Adrien David is back ahead of William Alatallo as well as the cars flick through at the end of that one. So through in the lead goes Caio Collet, and he's building that gap already, because at the end of the opening tour he is 1.6 seconds ahead of David Vidales in 2nd place. Down to 3rd then is Victor Martins. The championship duel between him and Collet, fascinating already, and this is advantage Collet right now. Both of them members last year of Renault Sports Academy. Only Collet stayed on the programme, so Martins very keen indeed to prove that he's just as good, if not better, than the Brazilian who leads the way. Vidales second. Remember, this is his first year of car racing, and he was late on the scene, and he goes wide coming out of the Adelaide hairpin. Missed the first 2 races at Monza, 1 at Imola, and mayhem has broken out at the Adelaide hairpin. We've lost Adrien David with broken left front suspension. He limps on, only to get out of the way. There was another car involved in that as well. I think it was possibly Magny Cours. Let's have a replay of the start. While the incident is attended to, we might find that interrupts things as well. So good start by Martins, but a better start, a length in advance and with the grip on the road for Caio Collet. He swings through the Grand Cours ahead as the cars plunged down to Estoril for the first time. David Vidales up on the inside, prized open the door, stood his ground on the inside line and went through to take 2nd place away. And now, look, the battle is still on for 2nd, and that's playing right into the hands of Collet, who is driving clear of David Vidales, who in turn is defending, look, from Victor Martins. And then right up behind him is Gregoire Saucy as they flick through the chicane. End of the lap, but you can see the race leader has checked out. Caio Collet getting away here. building a gap early on, letting the others fight, also pushing hard on the cold tyres, but he's doing a very good job indeed as they flick through the Grand Curve once more. Down to Estoril now. Lead gap has shot up to 2.6 seconds. And it's game on second, third, fourth and fifth because Lorenzo Colombo is all over the back of Gregoire Saucy. And that is Adrien David limping to the pit lane. So the MP Motorsport driver is a retirement. Franco Colapinto goes past him. Well, Colapinto was 8th on the grid. He has been delayed on the early part of the race as well. He's trying to fight back as there into the hairpin on the inside line, looking for position. Lorenzo Colombo can't quite do it, so Colombo slots back in. And does this explain what happened to Adrien David? Yes, brakes very, very late, clatters up the inside of Cordeal. That puts both of them out. I think in fairness to Adrien David, he was so busy defending in his battle that he rather forgot about his braking point. It was too late, so he turns into Cordeal. Bang, both of them out. So the race leader, there he is, Caio Collet. 2.6 seconds to the good. Clock ticks on down from the half-an-hour starting point. And then at the end, don't forget, there is the regulation lap tagged on. Battle still on the second and third places here. David Vidales just there ahead of Victor Martins and Adrien David out of the car. The race tomorrow is at an equivalent time, around about 5:10 local time. Last race of the weekend, so there's plenty of repair time for the team. They just rather not have to repair anything. Caio Collet flicks out of the chicane. Is that lead gap still going up? Is it coming down? Let's see, because to the eye it looks a little bit less. The timing screen confirms it. It is down to 1.8 seconds. So quite a margin pulled back on that lap by David Vidales, even though Collet did an absolute best within the first sector, but he lost over a second in the middle. It might have been because of the yellow flags, but either way, that gives renewed optimism to the JD Motorsport Spanish driver, David Vidales, who is still chasing on behind in that second place now as they make the run up towards the Adelaide hairpin once again. So 32, there he is, Vidales. He's got them all queued up behind him, look. But he's still doing an impressive job here. Double Spanish karting champion. Did lots of testing, did Vidales, pre-season in Formula Renault, in Formula 3, and then all the shuffling of calendars with the COVID restrictions meant that he had a bit more time to keep testing and then plan his campaign. Came into Formula Renault Eurocup, having missed the first two races and won both on his debut, which was mighty impressive. Well, he's been there or thereabouts ever since. What can he do here to bring the gap even further down against the race leader? He's lost out in both of the first two sectors, so the gap's set to widen once more this time around. William Alatallo goes through, ahead in turn of 51 there. Laszlo Toth, behind him is Rashid Dojeras, still pushing on as well. So Caio Collet then comes out of Chateau d'Eau, up towards the Lycée Complex and chicane at the end of the lap. Battles rage on behind him still. Hugo de Wilde there in the orange and white Arden colours, chasing on behind Lorenzo Colombo. Hugo de Wilde actually showing pretty decent pace here. He's not bang at the front, but he's not struggling in the same way that he did, for example, at Nürburgring a week ago. Winner last year in the championship in the opening round. And de Wilde, the Belgian driver, flicks through the Grand Curve. Turn left again, and then he flicked the car into the right-hander here at Estoril. Patrick Pachacek goes through 9th, top 10 score points. So the last scorer just going out of shot, William Alatallo there. Race leader, Caio Collet, on the run up towards the Adelaide hairpin once again. The gap has gone back up to 2.2 seconds, and he's just done another absolute best in the first sector. So Caio Collet getting away, but look at the queue behind. They are all virtually in a line all the way down to William Alatallo in 10th place. 11th there, Laszlo Toth. 12th, Rashid Dojeras. Franco Colapinto is the man trying to play catch-up. He's been delayed early on. He is in 13th place, and we've lost David and Cordeal, and also Nicky Piria seems to have gone missing as well. The incident between Cordeal and David is going to be investigated after the race. There is number one, Caio Collet, up then to the end of the middle sector, and this is going to be a very good lap indeed to break the spirit of David Vidales in second place, because it has two absolute bests within it for Caio Collet. Field streams then out of the Imola chicane, now through Chateau d'Eau, past the Vigier Museum, hidden on the outside of the circuit, plunged down towards the Lycée Complex. Alatallo there, the Finn, disappointing in qualifying, but he's hunting down those ahead of him as the leaders flick now through the chicane, rattle over the curb, and then up towards the timing line once more. So Caio Collet goes through and does the best lap of the race as he now tries to extend that margin, which is now 2.4 seconds over the rest of them. good for Collet for the championship. Even better in a sense is that Martins is only third and not being able to respond here. Up to the hairpin they turn once again then. Now, Victor Martins, 92, trying to unsettle David Vidales. He's been able to stay right up behind him, applying the pressure. In fourth place, dropping away a little bit now is Gregoire Saucy, and one goes wide there. Was that Lorenzo Colombo possibly? Let's check the order, because as they came streaming out of the hairpin, again, you only have to brake a fraction too late. You run out wide, rattle over the curb, risk damage the underside of the car, but also lose time as the momentum is scrubbed off. So as the race leaders then now power their way up towards, for the sixth time, the right-hander approaching Imola. You've got Collet, Vidales and Martins. Then in fourth place is Saucy. Fifth now is Quinn. Sixth is Colombo. Seventh is De Wilde. It was Paul Aron, therefore, who was the one that dropped back, because Petacek and Alatalo got ahead of the Estonian. So Paul Aron, who was on the 10th spot on the grid, had made progress, but now he's fallen back again with that little error coming out of the hairpin going out of Adelaide. There's the second place fight coming once more through the chicane. So Vidales is ahead of Martins, who, to be fair to him, has managed to stay in the wheel tracks for more than a couple of laps now, despite the fact he's running in dirty air. Another new fastest lap of the race offered up by Caio Collet at 34.2 now, and the margin is 3 seconds. And Martins knows that his main championship rival is driving away into the distance now. Colapinto is also one to watch for lap times, because he too is doing very good sectors right now. So there, race leaders turn through. Caio Collet with the margin comes up towards the hairpin. For the race leader on lap 7. Now David Vidales in second place has just done the absolute best within the first sector and has gapped by about 3/10. Look, all of a sudden Victor Martins, and that could now be crucial, because if Vidales is able to maintain this kind of pace, if he's got the life in the rubber, or only a third of the way through the timed element of the race as well, don't forget, he might be able to go after the leader. He needs to string together laps and laps and laps of these good sector times, not just a one-off. But you can see he's shaken off Victor Martins now, and that will be a huge relief for him. Suddenly he can concentrate on his own race, his own lines, rather than having to defend all the while. It's fractionally slower, admittedly, than Collet in the second sector, but Vidales, who leads the rookie contest, getting away from Martins third. Fourth, Gregoire Saucy. Alex Quinn still fifth then. The race leaders flick through the chicane again, up now to the completion of the lap. So Caio Collet will go through. He'll break the beam at the end of that third sector, and that was another absolute best within sector 3. So 7 laps are done. Through goes Vidales then. He's running in that second spot, and he's got to make up 3.1 seconds. It is not impossible, but it is a big task. Now there William Alatalo goes through, the Finnish driver. Another of the rookies. It's a good split this year between those back for a second season and those fresh into these very modern shape cars. They've got the Halo device, turbo engines, Hankook tyres that they're on. All of this as a concept introduced last year. Martins there clawing back the lost time under braking, getting right back onto the tail of David Vidales, who by 5 thousandths was quicker than the leader in the first sector. The other man to watch, and a safety car would do him a huge amount of good, it's got to be said, is Franco Colapinto, because he's doing purples in the sectors. Replay here, have a look. This is Martins closing right up under braking, and despite the slide under braking, controlled that nicely. Washed out a little maybe on exit, but there as you approach halfway of the timed portion of the race, Caio Collet still clear in the lead. So he's on lap 8 now. They're going through. Is Victor Martins in that third place. Now what can he do relative to Vidales ahead of him? Sector 1, slower. Sector 2, quicker. So it's a bit elasticated now, that situation between them. Through they turn down towards the Lycée complex once more. Out of the right-hander. Burst of acceleration. Flick through the chicane. And now up towards the timing line. Caio Collet goes through, and he's 3.5 seconds to the good. I think he's done enough, hasn't he, now seemingly to be able to break clear of this battle for second place. There was that glimpse of optimism for David Vidales. Now it's gone. Third, Victor Martins still pushing on. So RA's GP from JD Motorsport, from ART Grand Prix, within the top 3 at the moment. Collet out on his own, heading up towards the hairpin. Will brake, turn the car into the corner. There's second and third look. And again, Victor Martin's very, very good on the brakes. Hustles the car into the corner. David Vidales just seems to have the acceleration as he comes out of the Adelaide hairpin. Flicks then out of that kink at turn 6 on towards Nürburgring, which is there, and then into 180. Well, a puff and tar smoke from Collet's car that the second and third drivers had to go through. Well, either way, as they sprint now through the infield section and push on. Number 1 it is then, Caio Collet, looking very strong indeed up front. And this is the replay. It was a lock-up from the race leader, so the Hankook tar smoke dissipates. Does that cost Collet much? Well, he still did a personal best within the second sector, so it didn't slow him down too badly. What might happen, though, is that a flat spot on the tyres gets worse as the race wears on. Through the Lycée complex he comes. Turn right, then into the chicane. Second and third, Vidales from Martins. And then gap back to 4th. Gregoire Saucy from Alex Quinn. Lorenzo Colombo is 6th. Hugo de Wilde 7th. There, Patacek is 8th. Alatalo is 9th closing. And Paul Aron is a rather distant 10th, having made that mistake a few laps back up at the Adelaide hairpin. So Patacek goes by. At the rear of the field, you see there Rasha de Geras. He is in 12th place, still well clear of the recovering Franco Colapinto, the Argentine driver, winner of the opening round, but struggling ever since, really. He's giving away yet more points here, it seems. So there, the field accelerates to the Adelaide hairpin, the leading gap going up all the time. We're now at 3.8 seconds, Collet to Vidales. Now, what about Alex Quinn's chances here of getting onto terms with Gregoire Saucy before the end? There's 92, which is Victor Martin, so he's still running in 3rd place, but Alex Quinn, we know he's quick. Another new circuit for him, of course, this, as Vidales powers his way now through the Imola chicane. Hard on the brakes, and Martin's good under braking, as we've seen in the past. He's able to claw back a length or two. So there they turn into the chicane, and out of it comes Collet. That's going to put another lap in the book, so that now will be 10 of them completed. Over the timing line he has gone. 3.8 becomes 3.7 to the race leaders, but it's going to take a big mistake and or a safety car period to really throw a lifeline in the direction of Vidales. And you can see how Victor Martins is pressing on as well, a wheel on the dirt. But Caio Collet, then, the driver who was the French Formula 4 champion 2 years ago, has a record within Formula Renault Eurocup for 25 consecutive points finishes. And every time he finishes within that top 10, he's just going to extend it now. This will be 26. Comes out of the Adelaide hairpin, clear in the race lead, although Vidales has just done an absolute best within the first sector. So Vidales, again, having one of those clearer laps where he doesn't have to think about defending, suddenly finds a big chunk of pace. At the rear there, de Geras goes through, but as far as the leaders are concerned, is Caio Collet being caught, or is he just toying with the opposition a little bit here? One sector, as we've seen in the past from Vidales, doesn't necessarily give you the pattern. But there is Caio Collet out on his own, on target seemingly for 25 points in this race. We are on lap 11 and we're aiming for 19. That was the expectation. Top speed around here, 240 kilometres an hour. You spend 76% of the lap on full throttle. 30 gear changes to a lap, and out of the chicane, the final section of the circuit, comes Caio Collet, then up towards the timing line. Let's see what that lap is going to be for him. Breaks the beam. That was a 34.4, and the lead gap is 3.7 seconds, so it's not come down markedly. Needs an error from Collet, really, to change that. He's had one lock-up in this race, and that was about it. That's the only thing, really, that has given any optimism over the last few laps to David Vidales, who runs still in that second place. So here, up towards the hairpin comes number 1. Caio Collet goes through, and that's David Vidales in second spot, with Martins once more looking as though he's closer, but that's under braking, and then you see the gap stretches out once more as they come out of the Adelaide hairpin. Looking through turn 6, then into the Nürburgring chicane. Down to 180 goes Caio Collet then, so the driver with experience of French F4, 7 wins he took that season. Part of the Renault Sport Academy, managed by Nicolas Todd's organisation, the all-road management company, and Caio Collet, the man from Sao Paulo, driving for RA's GP, a man with a good future ahead of him. Through there goes 92 Victor Martins, who fell off that roster of the Renault Sport Academy drivers. That's another motivating factor, of course, to try to win the championship, to put one over on Collet, who remained on the programme. Martins, who was second in this championship last year, took 6 race wins, and runner-up in French Formula 4 back in 2017. So the former gymnastics champion goes over the timing line in 3rd place. But it's Caio Collet hanging on to the advantage, and the gap now up even further, over 4 seconds. We have the final third of the race of the clock to do, and then a regulation lap at the end. But Caio Collet absolutely crushing the opposition in this. So through they turn, up now to the Adelaide hairpin again. Martins closes a little bit under braking. There behind, look, is the Gregoire Saucy train of cars with Alex Quinn and Lorenzo Colombo not that far behind him. In fact, Quinn only 6/10 shy of Saucy as they went over the timing line. So that battle not totally resolved yet, because again, if Saucy makes a little mistake over a curve anywhere, they'll be right back on him. Alex Quinn chases on, trying to bring down that gap as the cars now come into 180. We are on lap 13. Alex Quinn there, the British driver, raced in F4 in the UK, he's racing GT4 in the UK, came into this championship towards the end of last season. He's got good pace, and the ardent driver hunting down the ART Grand Prix entry. Hard on the brakes goes Quinn, inching up onto the back of Gregoire Saucy, keeping Lorenzo Colombo in the better of the Bitec cars at bay, and then playing catch-up, sort of shouting, wait for me, in 7th, a little bit off the pace there. Hugo de Wilde, he's almost with them, but not quite, as 2nd and 3rd flick out of the chicane. Look back, there you've got 93, so Gregoire Saucy goes through, and you see that de Wilde is just tantalisingly about 6 lengths too far back to really be part of that group. Leaders go through them. 13 laps are now done, and you see Alex Quinn is still 6/10 of a second away from Gregoire Saucy. He's not giving up. Pushing all the while here. Into the hairpin goes Caio Collet, and then behind is the Vidales and Martins battle, and once again under braking for the hairpin, so Victor Martins brings down that gap. Next up, Gregoire Saucy, then it's Alex Quinn. And if anything, they look nearer this time as they come out of Adelaide, and yes, the gap is down by 1/10 of a second, so Quinn having another push here, see if he can get close enough to dislodge the man ahead of him. Gregoire Saucy goes through the Nürburgring chicane. Inevitably, everywhere gets a corner number, but it is good that the venue still has names, partly after other venues, and also local elements like the Chateau d'Eau and the Complexe du Lycée. So up to the approach to Chateau d'Eau comes the Alex Quinn fight. He's on the attack against Saucy, he's defending from Lorenzo Colombo, and through they turn. Eight minutes plus a lap remains. So the race leaders here turn into the approach to the chicane. Alex Quinn comes through the Lycée complex now onto the pit straight. So number 20, Alex Quinn up towards the line. 7 3/4 minutes remain. Colapinto is still banging in purple sectors in his remorseless quest to catch up to anybody. He's not even on the tail yet, and I'm thinking about points, which is the big frustration for the MP Motorsport driver. So Colapinto delayed on the opening lap of the race. There is the leader, Caio Collet, still 4 seconds clear of anybody else. Vidales second, Martins third, and look at the gap they pulled over Gregoire Saucy in that 4th place. Through they turn out of the chicane, the Nürburgring chicane, and now into 180, loop through, but it's 92, Victor Martins, irritated beyond belief that he can't get close enough again to Vidales and can't force a mistake out of him, and also no doubt frustrated that he lost out on the start to Collet and lost second place over the opening few corners. So it all rather unravelled from the get-go for him. Driver's turn out there of the Imola chicane, then Chateau d'Eau, and this brings them down towards the Lycée complex, then the chicane itself. So over the curve comes Collet. 6 minutes of the race plus a lap remain. At the moment, a flying lap is just over the minute and a half mark, effectively. So he goes by now with 15 laps done. Vidales 4.8 seconds back. We're heading towards 5-second margin. Renault 5, arguably here. Vidales in second place. Martin's third. Sosi, Quim, and Colombo rounding out the top 6. Vidales still hanging on to second place, although Victor Martins there trims the lawn on the inside as he tries to make as little Magny Cours lap as he can possibly get, therefore finding another 10th maybe to get him onto the back of Vidales, but to no avail. Hard on the brakes goes Quinn as they brake for the Adelaide hairpin. Hugo de Wilde 7th, fending off the challenge of Potacek. Turn through the corner, back onto the power now. So out of the chicane there into 180, that was Nürburgring into 180 that you were looking at. And the cars with now 15 laps in the book, still the same order. Collet, Vidales, Martins for the podium. Hugo de Wilde goes through. William Alatallo burst through as well. Frustrating race for Alatallo. He's still stuck in 9th place. Can't really do much about Potacek. But all of this at least means that Alatallo has gained from where he was on the grid. He qualified only 12. Over the line goes second and third. 7 tenths between them. And it's 4.888 between the leader and the second place man there, David Vidales. Out of Estoril they turn, then up through Golf. And the run towards the Adelaide hairpin once again. So Caio Collet now just has to tick off the laps, not make mistakes. He should be home and dry. What's been a mighty impressive drive. Most of the work, of course, done in qualifying. But last week at the Nürburgring, he made 2 duff starts in the races and lost places. So the starts have been absolutely crucial. And certainly today, he's nailed it. 4 minutes and counting on the clock, plus a lap. Vidales there in second spot, third. Closing up again as best he can under braking. Victor Martins. But Caio Collet, the Brazilian who's done so much of his racing in France over the last few years, looking oh so strong up front. Well, we've got ourselves late race now into a pattern, I think. There's limited shuffling, although Colapinto still pops in these purple sectors. He's done another one down in 13th place, but all this energy being put into the race for so little reward, because only the top 10 will score points. William Alatallo is one of those scorers, as there, second and third once again, down towards the Lycée complex, turn into the right-hander. Sprint towards the chicane, flick right, flick left, and over the line. Collet's already done it, he's gone through. 17 laps completed, 4.9 seconds now the margin. So there, Caio Collet, RHGP, dominant up front in this race. Very good first couple of laps, being able to get away from the rest, leave them squabbling, and to do all that, of course, on cold tyres. They're on hand-cut rubber, but Caio Collet doing a really good job on the opening couple of laps of the race. Vidales second still, despite the pressure from Victor Martins. Vidales third in the championship, so you've got the top 3 within the title race, all in a slightly jumbled order, admittedly, running in the leading 3 places here. Vidales outscoring Martins. It's Vidales that needs to be scoring well at the moment, and he'll get 18 points for second place, which will help. Downside is Caio Collet is going to outscore him and, of course, put himself back into the lead in the championship, so it'll be advantage Collet going into tomorrow's 8th race. Still to come, Zandvoort in 3 weeks' time. Then you've got Barcelona, Spa, and the championship with Hockenheim, Paul Ricard, and fingers crossed, yes, Merida on the calendar as well. But as travel restrictions and calendars still change, this is, final round still up for debate. So there we have the car in the hands of Gregoire Saucy in 4th place. Now, has he shaken off that car of Alex Quinn behind him? Yes, he has, hasn't he? He's got away now, so Saucy comes through. There is Quinn, who's a bit busier defending from Lorenzo Colombo now, so it's 4th, then a gap, 5th, 6th over the line together. 7th still is De Wilde, who is a little bit nearer. So Alex Quinn, yes, has lost ground. Now the clock will hit 0 for some on this lap, but Collet's margin suggests he might even be able to squeeze another lap out of it at the end of this within the 30-minute time period. Let's check. It's going to be touch and go, and that's why the bonus lap, if you like, was added on, so you don't get to this situation where it is purely a timed race and there's always that indecision when a car heads to the line and it's tight on time. Do we give it another lap and risk getting it wrong, or do we put the flag out just a second or two early? Well, this way there's no argument about it. The clock hits 0, then there is that full lap, so everybody knows that it is the last lap. We're not quite there yet. Should be next time around. Looking at where Collet is on the road relative to the clock. Through turns, Hugo de Wilde, son of Belgian motorsport journalist Olivier. Never is there a shortage of column inches for Hugo back home, but they've had little to shout about, I'm afraid, since Monza last year. He won there, crashed out of the day following's race, and has struggled really ever since to get back to that really good form he showed over 12 months ago. There, Petr Potacek, the Czech driver, being caught by the Finn, William Alatallo. Clock hit 0 then. And where is Caio Collet, the race leader? He's gone through onto his last lap. It was tight, that was marginal, but he's done it. So 1 lap to go for Caio Collet. Swings up through the Estoril looping turn 3. This far section up to the Adelaide hairpin with a little kink in it there as you go through turn 4. Now, there is debate as to whether there is another lap still. I said it was marginal. The graphic says a lap, but we'll double check with Swiss timing. If it was marginal, we didn't see him go across the line. If it was marginal, they might give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll see. Thomas Jetner, the race director, will be double checking to make sure that he did get through before the clock hit 0. Either way, if you're in a battle, you'll want as many more laps as you can. Vidal is defending, may not want another bonus lap, we'll see. So there is Caio Collet. Vidal has just done another absolute best in sector 1. So looking to see whether the checkered flag is ready. So there is Caio Collet going over the line, but that helps us with the clock, unfortunately. So through he goes. No 1 lap board or finger displayed by the official, even though we've got the 1 lap graphic up. So for some, the clock has hit 0, but it looks as though Collet may just have sneaked through. Let's find out. Comes out of the chicane. Is there a flag? No, there is the 1 finger now. So now, last lap. So the drivers do get this extra lap. And David Vidales bringing down the gap, 4.4 seconds it is now. Maybe Collet thought that was the last lap and he was backing off accordingly, but either way, now the confirmation comes. Let's hope 1 or 2 aren't going to be marginal on fuel here, because they might have had a little bit more mileage than they anticipated. However, Caio Collet has been just dominant in this race, and there's no real evidence that he's going to lose out at the last, even though Vidales is hustling on. And he's taken another couple of tenths out of him in the first sector. This is Collet driving well within himself now, leaving nothing to chance as he goes there under the gantry. So Vidal is closer within sector 1, but Collet's being oh so strong here. Out of 180, back on the power. Up now through that little wriggle that takes you towards the fast Imola chicane, and then up towards Chateau d'Eau at the top of the lap. Past the Ligier Museum he will go, and then down towards the completion of the lap into the Complexe du Lycée. But this, first of all, is Chateau d'Eau. Turn right, on to the power. It's another long corner. Accelerate down towards the completion of what will be the last lap, lap 21. And a really good drive by Caio Collet. As I said earlier on, he nailed the start, and that really was key to all of this. It was his weakness at the Nürburgring, the real strength here. Out of the chicane to take the flag, Caio Collet wins race 1 at Magny Cours. second across the line, David Vidales, third, Victor Martins, and that should put Collet back to the top within the championship. A really impressive drive here at Magny Cours. They're going through in fourth place, Gregoire Saucy. Alex Quinn hangs on to fifth. Lorenzo Colombo sixth, ahead of Ugo de Wilde. Then Petr Potacek, William Alatallo, and Paul Aron takes the last point in classification. He's 10th. Everybody else flicks through the chicane. There, Rachid Legeras, who will be 12th, and Franco Colapinto hustling on there to the very end, 13th. His lap time's always good through that race, but never really did he have the ability to claw back all the lost time that he'd lost at the very start. Had a safety car been deployed, it might have been a different story, but it was not to be. So Victor Martins only third today. He will start tomorrow's race from pole position. That's a really good drive by Caio Collet there, and he will take deservedly the plaudits, making his way now around to the Parc Ferme area, then towards the presentation. So Collet, a race winner here at Magny Cours. Race 1 of Formula Renault Eurocup. Caio Collet the winner from David Vidales and Victor Martins third. Gregoire Saucy fourth, ahead of Alex Quinn and Lorenzo Colombo. From Ugo de Wilde, Petr Potacek, William Alatallo and Paul Aron to round out the points scorers. Then Laszlo Toth ahead of Rachid Legeras and Franco Colapinto, with Adrien David and Amaury Cordial not finishing, nor did Vicky Piria finish. She retired somewhere on the opening lap of the race. And a quick word also about Thymen van der Helm, who's on the entry list but not racing this weekend. The Dutch driver has injured himself and he wants to be fully fit for his home races at Zandvoort in a couple of 3 weeks' time. Replay at the start, Caio Collet nailed it. Not such a good getaway by Victor Martins. He tried to defend against Collet. By the time he got into the pack, he left himself exposed to a challenge from David Vidales, who surged up the inside line. William Alatallo got past Petr Potacek, who went off the road and got back on again. There was a real old skirmish which forced Franco Colapinto out wide, lost 4 or 5 places. Adrien David clattered into Amaury Cordial on the second lap of the race, and also others were delayed in the fracas. That was David out of the race early doors. Cordial was out as well. Main attention for the first third also was whether or not Victor Martins could do anything about David Vidales for second place. Caio Collet had a lock-up. That was about the only error that he visibly made during the course of the race. And Vidales, with his constant shadow of Victor Martins behind him, was able to maintain that second place pretty much all the way to the checkered flag. He was a little bit closer to the race leader at flag 4, but Caio Collet, a dominant race winner here at Magny Cours. So there, Victor Martins' car sits in Parc Ferme. David Vidales second, but also don't forget the winning rookie out of this 7th race within the Formula Renault Eurocup. And the drivers then await the arrival of the race winner, which is about all they've seen of him for the last 25 minutes, having built that gap. So Caio Collet arrives in the Parc Ferme area, and in a moment will, I'm sure, as a delighted man, step out of the car. Race winner for the 2nd time this season. Caio Collet victorious first at Monza in the 2nd race there. All of that after a great qualifying and win number 2, plus the championship lead for Caio Collet. Down he jumps, goes to celebrate with the RACE GP team. So Caio Collet then the race winner. David Vidales taking 2nd, and 3rd goes the way of Victor Martins. So it's very happy, understandably so, Caio Collet that takes the race win. We'll have a chance to hear from him shortly because Gemma Scott is down there to talk to the winning driver, and Caio Collet making his way through the post-race weight checks. You have to be weighed with your crash helmet. So there is the weight of the car, weight of the driver. So you do them in isolation. You have a combined weight as well, just to make sure that everything is to the regulations. Face masks on, gloves if required, and then the drivers will collect their trophies and head towards their backdrop for the photographs. So Caio Collet, race winner. David Vidales there, and nearest to us, a slightly po-faced Victor Martins, frustrated that he's not been able to take the race win. Face mask then for Caio Collet. Still look odd in years to come, won't you, when you see pictures of the race winners with these. However, for now, Caio Collet is the race winner, and he's with Gemma.
Caio, fantastic win for you, and that puts you back in the lead of the championship.
Yeah, it feels really good. I think today, I don't know if we did the fastest lap of the race, but it was really amazing. Pole win and hopefully fastest lap. I have to say a big thanks to the team. They did a really good job with the car. I'm super happy and focus on tomorrow.
And after the difficulties that you had in Nürburgring, that puts your confidence back where it needs to be.
Yeah, for sure. In Nürburgring, I missed a bit the starts, and today I did it. So thanks God. And yeah, let's see what we can do tomorrow.
Fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.